What's up, you guys? JD here, back with another video, and today I'm gonna go over my trading week that we just had, and I kind of want to start you guys off with a little bit of motivation, or kind of the way that business endeavors work, right? So this is a grass, right? And what happens in our lifetime is we always start off, as with any business endeavor, as a small little tree, right? Now you're going to be a sapling at first, right? So you might have a couple little leaves, right? From other past experiences, whatever. But you're not going to have a full branch. So endeavors like trading, you're right? You fortify your skill, you grow branches, right? So maybe you learn how to swing, right? Swing, right? Or maybe you learn how to day trade. So day, right? Now, these are small branches, right? And at any time, with like a regular tree, they can fall off, right? So you might have a bad week or whatever, right? Right, you might mess up. But the thing about trading is that eventually, once you master the skill, right, you can build a beautiful, 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 beautiful big tree, right, with a lot of different branches because there's a lot that goes into it. Then you got long terms, right? Then you got over here, you got day trading, swing trading, long terms. Maybe you have hedge, right? Right? So basically, if you're not understanding the explanation, is trading is something that you can make a really big tree, and eventually, right, you want to get fruit from the tree, right? So you want some apples to grow on it, right? And at the end of the day, that's what trading allows you to do. There's a lot of branches to trading, so you can have a lot of different branches. This is just a few to name, actually. So maybe you could trade futures, right? Futes, or you could do Forex, right? Forex. Or you can even do crypto, right? So this is why trading is amazing. Look at this beautiful tree, which will all in turn, if you master it, which will take, you have to think about it. How long does a big tree take to grow? 30 years, right? So now, if you want to have this, it's going to take you 30 years, very simply, right? In the beginning, what are you going to start off as? Literally, you're going to start off as a little sapling. Like this, your leaves are going to fall off. Maybe the big bear is going to come eat you, right? And you got to restart. So you die. But anyways, the point is, we want to sustain the big tree. We want to get this to this level right here, right? And you always have to start off like this, very simply. Now, what do you need to be a tree, realistically? You need a solid base, right? That way, no bears can eat you, and you stay growing as strong as possible. So this right here is going to be your mindset, right? Mind. So this is what you have to master: yourself, your mind. That way, when you have a strong base, right? When you have a strong base, all you're going to need is water, right? So water, which is different opportunities, different trading days that you have, different skills that you acquire, and you have sunlight, right? Which in this case, the sunlight is going to be yourself, your own coaching. You can have a mentor, right? Something that keeps radiating you, right? To become this tree right here. So you have to have a strong mind, right? With water, which is your own personal experiences, right? Coming down, feeding your tree, and sunlight, so that a mentor or someone who's actually successful at what you do, so that eventually, right, after a couple hardships, you're going to grow a branch. You're going to know how to do something. And off that branch, more branches are going to grow, more branches. Then once you master it, you're going to get some leaves on there, just like a regular tree would. And eventually, once you get those leaves, you're going to be able to get the fruit, which is the money or whatever the skill, whatever you get, whatever you're looking out for in that skill, that's what you're going to get at the end. Okay, so that's the fruit. But to start off, right? To start off, you're always going to start off like this with any business venture. Okay, this is where you start. And to get to this level, it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even years, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 30, if you really want a big tree like this. But as long as you have a strong base, water and sunlight, eventually with time you'll get there. So just kind of a little quick analysis that I wanted to give you guys to motivate you guys. So you have to start off somewhere, right? That's number one, and constantly keep reinforcing it. Now you have to really understand, is this for you? Do you really want to do it? And that's with any business adventure, right? You need to make sure that the tree that you're going to grow can have a lot of branches with any business that you do. Because if you're just going to grow a tree to make a couple little branches, then, it's not a good business, right? So that's just the potential of this business and many other businesses that you can find. You have to find something that interests you. That way you enjoy the process and don't give up, very simply. So anyways, let's just get into it. Hope that helps someone. Anyways, left shoulder here, right? This is Monday. So market just opened. Previously had an inverse head and shoulder, but we opened around the same level. So, not much. Left shoulder, there was a head. I did see this magenta and this blue. I don't know why I went long here. This was honestly just probably like a one warm-up trade or a FOMO trade or whatever that I thought this previous, whatever. It was a bad trade. I got stopped out, no algos, so, it is what it is. But I was still looking at the algos, so then we got this magenta, tapered into the blue. We had this red key level here, so I was looking to take long already previously because I messed up. I thought off this key level maybe we would bounce, but we didn't do it. I got a late entry too, so, not really very intelligent. But then we pulled back into this level, I'm sorry. We got a head, right shoulder, so off that key level. So I decided to take that, put my stop right under here, so where the bearish algo coincided with. Because if we break through and the bearish algo takes control, look at this left shoulder liquidity that we have, so we're just going to go down. So this is a pretty good RR trade, but we had this blue, so off the blue bounce, boom, you take it, take profit by half day, which actually we didn't even get there. We didn't have, this would have been, I guess, a previous high of day, so, but we had this the green tapering algo, so as long as you're protected by the green tapering algo, which is exactly the perfect time, I just secured it by this key level previously, probably took out more than half of the contracts here. After these 3 green candles, it was more than enough. Probably kept some runners and closed them out, right? Didn't hold them all the way out because whatever, you don't need the full move most of the time. And then I was just patient, waiting, trying out the algos. We got magenta, right? I mean, you could take a short off this level, but left shoulder liquidity is not very, very good at this level. Maybe you could have been looking out for this left shoulder after we got this head, but I really wasn't looking to short. So we had magenta, especially not with the magenta and the blue. So once that blue tapered, I took that long, trying to see if you can get a nice view on the chart for it. So yeah, right here. So we had this magenta, right? Building liquidity, bounce, bounce, bounce again, bounce, and then we tapered into the blue. So once you have this beautiful inverse head and shoulder, right? You have left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and boom, we just fly. So I wasn't expecting this much of a trade, but I took it. Took this probably 10 contracts realistically, closed most of them out by this green candle, and probably kept closed out 2 more here, probably 3 more here. So called it a day after that. there was a nice short opportunity at the end of the day that probably a lot of people were looking out for. Honestly, I wasn't looking out for it. I took this trade because we had structure off the 5-day. So left shoulder, right? You see it? Head and a nested inverse head and shoulder. Very simply, 2 left shoulders here, a head, right shoulder off the 5-day. So you just have to take that. Stop loss is right below where this head ends, which also coincides. 5-day was most likely around here. So it's a good RR. Now, this was a good short, right? If you held it out until the next day, also very nice short. I wasn't FOMOing. I knew there was going to be more opportunity, if anything. Now, some good trades here. Look, we got that that yellow, and taper into blue, and taper into the white selling. So we had the algos figured out. I wasn't really caring about missing these trades because there was going to be more opportunity. So there we go. Yellow, taper into blue, micro channel of the blue off this green wick. So this is where a lot of buyers are going to buy, and that's where you can expect stop losses to start getting hit. So very simply, you draw the micro channel, and that's my entry for the short. So I'm just waiting. You can maybe if you want to, start your short up here. So you start maybe 3 contracts and you have a good RR, right? Now, I like to wait until we get into my micro channel and just take the full position here, because then I'll have more levels for the stops, right? So I actually entered a little earlier. Once this white algo formed and I saw it right here off of this key level, then that was my entry right there, right here. After this red candle closed and this white was formed, and then I probably took some profits here, right? Expecting us to pull back up here, and then we're gonna drop, but I already had this micro channel off this. So as soon as we started building liquidity within that, I loaded another position, probably at this red candle right here when we were breaking out. And then that's when you actually get the big move, right? Take your profit right there, 100%. That wasn't even by low of day or anything, so not really much of a guise to where to take your profit. But, you know, I had the white already drawn, so I knew where the bottom of white was. And that's where you take your profit, very simply. If I would have held it out for these candles, I would have gotten burned most of the profits, so take what you can get. Now, I did re-enter here. We had this left shoulder, kind of weak, not very strong, had a head, and I took the right shoulder. So, boom, I probably took out some contracts. And now I should have waited for the micro channel again, very simply. I didn't. I took the trade here. Maybe I protected like 2 contracts and the rest of the contracts were stopped out. But since I was green on this trade right here, doesn't even matter because it paid for this trade. Even if I got stopped out, this trade was going to pay for it. So very simply, you can't win them all. Realistically, I should have waited for this blue to break. But either way, if I was going to trade take my trade up here full, would have been a little bit worse, because at least up here, since I took it here, I took some contracts out. But it is what it is. Usually it's better to wait for the for the yellow algo and the blue algo to review itself again. But sometimes you get impatient, and as long as you don't ruin yourself, that's all that matters. So magenta, right? Magenta. And we have the blue, right? So that's bulls building liquidity, buyers. And I took a short here, right? I saw this left shoulder. We had a head, and we had rejected this key level within the magenta. I most likely took the short right here after this rejection candle, right? It gave me indication. We flushed down, but right after at this key level, we just bounced. So I did get stopped fully out of that trade. It is what it is, right? Can't win them all. Now, I don't know why I had some short bias for this trade, even though clearly the buyers were building liquidity. But I don't know. I was just expecting a move down. I don't know what it is. We had magenta again. Took another short here. Now this short a little bit more justifiable because we were rejecting this blue. See how we were rejecting it off of this wick? So that kind of gave me incentive to short. Now, obviously the best thing is to wait for the micro channel, which I didn't, which is literally, watch, ready? When we break micro channel, that's the trade to take. right? But the real trade to take is when there's structure inside the micro channel. So you see this liquidity right here on the left shoulder formed with that micro channel, right? Wicking off of it. Then we got a stop hunt, and then this is a real move that we want to get, which I didn't get into, but it is what it is. I took another short here when we broke this micro channel. Probably took some contracts out after this red candle because that's a nice like 20%er. And I probably took the rest out right here, realistically. So I probably took this trade and I was like, all right, whatever. I kept forcing. So 1, 2, 3. Now this would have been the real trade right here. After we had left shoulder, head, right shoulder, this is a beautiful trade. Why did this happen? Because we set off all of these stops, very simply. But it is what it is. After this, I was like, all right, I'm just going to call it a day. Whatever happens, happens. And it is what it is. You move on to the next day, right? So next day, another day to make profits, very simply. And we had this magenta, we had this blue, and our intraday yellow, which was actually the moneymaker. So I took this trade once we revealed magenta with blue. Then we had another slight magenta right here and taper into blue. So take it off the bottom of blue with a very tight stop, because if we break the yellow, that's the intraday algo, you can expect some stops. So as long as you have a nice RR, maybe I was targeting this key level, but I took it to the top of the yellow because it is what it is. I don't like holding out these slow grinds. That's the worst. Now, would have been smart to keep 1 or 2 runners, right? I didn't. I took my calls early, so I closed my calls early, very simply. 1 or 2 runners would have been nice though, I'm not gonna lie. But there's always more opportunity to get in, as you can see. Look at this, ready? Magenta, right? Taper into blue. Off the top of blue this time, 1 candle. Take all my profit. That's it. Ready to reload. Again, magenta, blue. Now, here we had a head and a right shoulder, and this was convincing me very hard to go short, especially because we were trying to break out of that intraday green algo. But we had this blue defending, so you know, I got stopped out of that one. We actually did defend, the bulls did defend the intraday algo, so unlike I thought with this head and this shoulder and all of this liquidity right here plus this liquidity right here, they were just gonna go for it, boom, 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 maybe close this cup right here. But it didn't work. It is what it is. The blue defended, so we take another long here, which I guess this was kind of forcing because I didn't have the magenta or blue charted out, and I got stopped out of this one. So a couple mistakes this week, but it's okay because we take some good trades at the end. And this one had a left shoulder, we had a head, we rejected that key level with this red candle, finally broke the intraday yellow algo, which is why this one convinced me a little more. And we had magenta building liquidity, so the buyers actually allowed it to go down with this one. So we took that trade and we secured it by the bottom of blue because we were probably going to need to build more liquidity. So probably take some profits by this blue right here. You can expect buyers to be defending there and maybe hold some runners for this second little move. It is what it is. You can't expect to dump without structure, so you got to take it how you can get it. Now here we had a dump, right? Which makes sense because we had all of these stops right here. These are buyer stops and we grabbed them. So I didn't take this move right here, but once we close this cup, right, which is my original plan, I thought it was going to happen a little earlier. Just so happened I had to wait another hour. And 5-day was here, so this was a big day, whatever. There was a lot of people shorting, and you just have to wait for structure. So green candles. I took the short right up here on the top of the bullish algo because that's going to be the tightest RR, right? We have this blue algo, which is resistance, defending it. So if we were to go up, I would lose a little bit, but I know a lot of sellers are going to be defending there, especially with 5-day MA being right here, and worked out perfectly. Probably this move, since it's 4 candles back to back, is better than this one. Maybe not. maybe this one candle spiked a lot. I know it did because I was debating taking this trade, and my contracts that I was looking at like tripled or quadrupled. So, but I was ready at least for this one. So it is what it is, right? You take what you can get. Again, same algos. Yellow, taper into blue, and you take it. Now we had this magenta here, so the bulls were actually allowing it to drop. So I pretty much took it when this yellow algo was broken and we were respecting the magenta. So off the green candle, always you enter puts on green, and boom, instant flush. Take your candle by those two profits. By those two candles, I'm sorry. And I think, yeah, I took one more trade here, expecting one more little flush, but probably got stopped out of this one. I'm already scaled down by this point though, so these are just trades for fun, but you're still waiting out, right? You're not gonna just take this trade and then try to take this trade and then try to take this one. Like, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. Look at this liquidity right here. We got a head, and I try to take it. If it didn't work out, that's it. Finish for the day. Simple. So it's just about keeping your trading simple and trying not to get greedy, because people see days like this and get super greedy. If you want money, you gotta wait for the green candles, bro. So green candles, wait for the people who you're trying to trap. So these are people trapped. It's very simply, I'm looking for their stop loss. These are people trapped right here. I'm looking for their stop loss. So it's simple. Now you can take silly trades. It happens to everyone, pros, me. Now you just gotta learn how to manage your risk with them. Thursday, right? Kind of traded pretty early here. So, but there was a reason to it because we gapped up and I wanted to have a put hedge. So I waited for a couple green candles and I took my puts and probably took, it was early candles. So maybe I took 6 contracts, secured 4 and held 2 for a hedge, because I wanted to be super confident when I went long that if we dump, I can make the money with the puts back. So for all my longs this day, I was heavy. I was heavy in the longs because I was hedged. So magenta, wait out for the blue. I took the entry. You see this yellow activated, right? Off the bottom of magenta and off the bottom of blue. So my calls were off the bottom of blue when this yellow activated, right? And take your profits by high of day, which is right here, right? So take your profits by high of day. Maybe I hold one more contract up here, but when we get up here, you can expect another magenta. So don't get greedy. Now I didn't take that magenta and that blue, but I was still hedged in my puts, made some money on here, made money on the puts. So I was chilling. I was like, I'm only going to take some nice setups. This was a beautiful setup right here for the long. Very, very nice. We had magenta and blue and almost like a 1-point move right there. I didn't take that. It is what it is. Now, this was a slow grind up, right? We had this blue building liquidity for the bulls. Boom, look at all of these sellers trapped, right? Now, I thought we were going to break out sooner, right? So I was looking out for this yellow buying continuation. And I took my calls here off this red candle, right? Because we had a head, left shoulder, and I was thinking that we were just going to push up, right? Now, this one green candle, I took my profits and I held some calls. Mind you, I'm still puts. I still have 2 puts, 2 contracts if we dump. So I'm here confident. I'm like, okay, doesn't look like we're going to push out yet. So I take my profits and I probably close out the second bit of profits up here, even though this candle usually it likes to push out once we get up here in the top of the micro channel, but we didn't. So I just took the profit. I was like, all right, it is what it is. As soon as that, everyone took profits because we had this huge red candle, right? Runner got stopped out, as you can see. Same thing again for contracts, trying to get that breakout. Didn't work out, stopped out again. And finally, we got the breakout. So off the micro channel, of course, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder in the micro channel. It always works out both ways. Short or long, micro channel, when you build liquidity like this, you already know. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on next week. And finally, we activated the yellow, but we didn't get too far because they had to build more liquidity again. So very choppy, grindy day. Not very nice, but as long as you can identify the algos, you use it to your advantage. Now, I already knew it was a choppy day after I took this trade because I had just previously took 3 trades to get in one. So I was like, all right, I'm going to wait. I don't even care. And it worked out. Liquidity, look at all these sellers trapped, trapped, and in the blue algo. So once we built this structure, head, left shoulder, right shoulder, right shoulder, right shoulder, that's 3 right shoulders. So you can kind of call it a triple bottom with a head and shoulder. And I took it off that 3rd bottom. Most people probably took it here, but got hunted. So I took advantage of that. And boom, high of day, take your profits. You can wait for a handle, which we got the magenta and the blue. And you can even reload here. This was a beautiful reload because we had that cup and that handle. So here's a reload, right? Now, I didn't reload here because it was at a key level, right? So usually what I like to do is wait for it to retest that key level and then get in. So once I see that retest with the magenta and the blue, I'm waiting for us to break out of the blue, right? Because I don't want us to break out of this green, get an early entry, and I get stopped out. I'd rather wait for the blue to build some liquidity, which look at this, right? We have a beautiful, beautiful liquidity build right here in the blue. Bounce off the key level, which was a previous resistance. Resisted, finally got up, bounce, and boom, look at that perfect trade. Straight to the next key level, take your profit, wait again, very simply, okay? And once you got to this key level, I was still looking for the bullish algos. Mind you, I still have the puts, probably worthless at this point, probably. Maybe like, yeah, probably like 60% loss or something, whatever. It's 2 contracts. I already secured it, basically. And these longs are heavy because I have the puts, so I'm hedged, I'm safe. And this was more in the PM session, so we had all of this bullish liquidity right here, which the bulls could use to push off. But then you see this very small, like rejection type building. This is very bearish right here, especially since we're like inching into this blue bearish algo. So once I see this head, I'm like, all right, I got to look for the bearish algos. So yellow, throw it down, and green, throw it down, which they appeared. As soon as we broke, the bulls tried to break out of that yellow, which is buying continuation. It got rejected. So once I see that rejection, I'm all in puts. I see this liquidity. I'm like, wow, that's going to close this cup very simply. And take all of these stops out, take these stops out, take these stops out. And maybe the entry would have been here, right? Usually micro channel, as I like to wait. But I don't know, since we're rejecting this bullish like breakout, it rung to me. So loaded this heavy puts plus the other 2 that I had as runners, which I probably kept the runners and let them go worthless because this trade was a banger. And that's it. I did take one more long here because we had an inverse cup and handle form. And I don't know, we just weren't breaking down further. So this was like a power hour trade. And see, micro channel, we had so much bullish liquidity here that they can use. And I mean, I was trying to see if we catch a crazy rally or something, but it wasn't very far. Probably like 10 contracts, $10 each, and probably made a nice, like, I don't know, 30% return, 40% return on it. So this was more like a fun trade after this one. It is what it is. Now, if I swung those calls, okay, now we're talking, because Friday we opened up and we were just ripping up. I didn't want to FOMO. We had the bullish algos and everything, but I don't know. I didn't want to rush it. I didn't want to FOMO it. So I was like, all right, just let them run. There'll be more opportunity later. Let them run. None of this enticed me at all to get in. But I was looking to short because after this run, I can't imagine how many retail traders are buying this, like, and even up here buying. They're just like, we're going to keep going up. But I'm not. I don't think that. I look for the bearish algos and I wait. I stalk the prey. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, boom, instantly. Now, close the cup. You can expect a small handle or a big handle. I wasn't expecting a small handle, but we did get those bearish algos, which I could have taken another put here, whatever. I was good enough with this one. It was a Friday, so I didn't want to go crazy. I was just really waiting for those A1 setups, basically. So we had another left shoulder, stupid head here. I don't know why I took this. This was not a very good trade because this left shoulder is bigger than the head, so it just didn't make much sense. But we were, well, I guess you can say inverse cup and a handle, right? But it's not the best structure, I'm not gonna lie. I took the short here. I had my stop loss above this key level, so it kind of worked out because I took my profits by this candle. But I should have realistically waited for a better structure. It is what it is. The trade worked out. Here I took a short again because this is, I guess, the inverse cup and handle I was looking at. And then the handle finally built. And once we broke below this key level, this is where I was looking to short. But I got stopped out, so it is what it is. And then I waited for one more trade at the end. Actually, I took two more trades. Then after we had this yellow, taper into green, taper into blue, micro channel. Look at this micro channel liquidity, right? Liquidity, 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 liquidity. More liquidity right here. So we had a left shoulder, we had a head, a right shoulder, and once we broke that, that was my entry. Boom, straight down. And no, okay, so it didn't secure by low of day. I just kind of took profit when it made sense. But most of the profit I probably took by this red candle right here and probably left like 1 or 2 contracts for this candle, and that's it. I don't care. So more bearish liquidity. Here I took another short for some reason, maybe because this cup closed or I don't know. It made sense. Rejected off the red level right there, which is a key level. Maybe, okay, so look, inverse cup closed and a small handle, and then we push down. I didn't have my algos drawn out for some reason, but I did take this trade. And then we just pumped it again, pretty much, and I forced this trade in power hour, but it didn't really destroy me or anything. I just did lose some profit. It is what it is. It's because, though, we had this beautiful liquidity right here. So, you know how market makers like to do it. They just like to wait till last minute and then the real big move comes. So that's what I was expecting. And nice structure, liquidity. We had we had this inverse cup, right? Finally formed. And this was the exact handle I was waiting for, a huge grain handle, trapping a bunch of retail. And then I thought we were just going to dump last hour, but it didn't really work out. And it's okay, because the week was green. We took solid trades. We stuck to our rules. Most of them, well, I did overtrade some days, so I can't really say that 100%, but I did do a solid week, I think. I think I did learn a lot this week, definitely. And I did have a solid week. Maybe 2 red days and 3 green days, but the green days always outweigh the red days, so it is what it is. Now, every day isn't perfect, but try to make it better the next day, very simply. But this next week, I know it's going to be a banger week because I know exactly what I'm going to look out for. I know exactly what I have to do, and we're just going to get to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the first little segment of the video too, which maybe I'll make more videos like that separately from the trading. But I don't know, it's pretty late, so I wasn't even planning on making a video, but I said I have to. So if I have to do it. And there's just non-negotiable things you have to do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.